Welcome to Be Bright Coffee.
Welcome to the Dad and Daddy Show.
I'm Nick Cho.
And I'm Kevin Kreider.
And today we decided to be out and about in the world. I like it like this. How do you feel being out of our studio?
Feels good. You know, this feels like what I do in AA when I talk to my sponsor or go to AA meetings.
Yeah,
it's always coffee shops.
Go to coffee shops a lot.
This feels good.
So you're used to the coffee shops in the area?
100%.
Yeah. So Be Bright Coffee here on Melrose Avenue, right?
Yep.
Here near Fairfax. We're a little bit north of the Grove, east of Fairfax High School, where they have the Melrose Trading Post. But I've known Frank, the owner, for a long time. Like, to me, he's like a little brother. He's a Korean-American guy. Grew up in the area and doing really good things here in Los Angeles. He was the United States Barista Champion a couple of years ago.
Very nice.
He won the big competition. And, because I used to run the competitions. And so, I got to see him kind of come up. And a lot of people in the industry come up. These are all part of the sort of legend of the Korean dad. It's like, I was the kind of Korean big brother. And sunbae, you know the word sunbae in Korean?
Why would I know that?
Sunbae literally means like older classmate, like in school.
Okay.
But like, with
That
Korean
means you got
culture,
held back.
with Korean culture, it's very it's very relational. And so how you relate to each other. So like, we talked about hyung, oppa, stuff like that. And so this idea of being a sunbae is like being sort of like a older classmate, like an alum is a little bit like that. But in Korean culture, like it means a little bit more. It has a little bit to do with like, not quite mentor, but it's like, there's a little bit of an implied like taking people under their wing, kind of thing, which is like sort of normal for anyone who.
Like an apprenticeship.
But not like directly, right? It's more just like, people look up to and like people take care of. It's just like, it's hard to explain. Korean culture is kind of interesting that way. Everything's very relational. But anyway, so like, congratulations to Frank on all your success. And come see the nice folks here at Be Bright, all the baristas and everyone. Yeah.
Great name.
Yeah. Frank is a very spiritual kind of guy. And so I think he wanted something that emoted a little bit when it's Be Bright Coffee.
Good thing I'm not a cafe owner. I would have called it Don't Be Depressed or something.
Don't be depressed.
Coffee, which would probably make more people depressed.
How are you feeling? How are you doing? How was your weekend?
Weekend was good. Week was tough. I think
It was tough?
Yeah. I was talking to my therapist a lot about it. I had 2 therapy sessions this week.
Did you have to have like an emergency therapy session?
No,
usually it's not 2 a week.
2 sessions in a row. One's EMDR, one's regular talk therapy. But then I had my home group for AA, and I think what was really going on was this whole week I had, for the first time in a long time, actually nothing to do except be with myself. And I realized after Friday when I spoke at a home group that I go to, that I think after all this time, I'm finally starting to feel the feelings for the first time in a long time.
Starting to feel feelings.
Starting to feel the feelings that's coming up.
Tell me more.
This whole week I was feeling a little bit of just like, okay, the passing of a relationship, a career idea, the future was just very much like very clear that it's over. Then there was feeling of hopelessness that was coming up that I never felt for a long time. But before that, I was only feeling kind of doom and gloom or just nothing.
Was it just like an emptiness, or do you feel like were you kind of suppressing, trying to almost block stuff out?
It's exactly that. It's like I didn't intentionally mean to block feelings out because I was just like, what? But it just overcame me this week. My therapist said it's very normal, especially after big changes in your life. And so last week could be great. This week you could be feeling your feelings again. And just because I think even talking to you, just processing all of this, I'm like, oh, wow. Like, I'm starting to feel again.
This isn't therapy, but I know that like when I get to see friends or someone who I know I'm going to have like a kind of a meaningful sort of like opening up conversation with, that I don't think this is necessarily gendered, but maybe it is, that as a man, it's like I really look forward to that, and I can imagine that maybe you're saying for you, like it's like this pathway kind of opens up, and by having that pathway opened up, it's like a little roto-rooter, like cleaning the pipes a little bit, and the things are flowing more, maybe.
Totally. I definitely feel it now, because I like I said, I was just overwhelmed with when I was at my home group talking about it, and I was just like, I'm feeling stuff again. But I'm so grateful I'm feeling stuff.
Yeah.
Because like literally I was just not feeling anything. And so now I'm better.
You're holding this a little bit awkward. Let's do this, and then you can either hold this part, or you can even hold this fat part, depending on whether you like holding the skinny part or the girthy part.
Gotcha. I think I'll hold the girth.
I was asking for that.
Feels natural. Familiar.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
This feels very familiar.
Yeah. Yeah. When you're holding your coffee cup.
I know, right? Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like looking forward to these conversations too, because I don't have these all throughout the week either.
This was part of the genesis in our prior conversations before getting started with the podcast. Is like we wanted these to be an opportunity for a bunch of different things. I mean, having done 3, we've had 5 conversations actually. One was for your podcast. It was like the last one for the Kevin Kreider show. And then we did one that like we were sort of testing things out that we're not planning to release. It was more of like a test conversation that we've had. But having had these, like, I mean, are you saying that then that this is becoming something in your week, in your life, like that's, I don't know, like where does this fit in for you right now?
It's like you look forward to it. I mean, because for a while we were seeing each other every week. I'm not saying my hopelessness was just because of you, but like that was the first time we weren't seeing each other for 3 or 4 weeks in a row.
We skipped a week.
Right. And I was like, oh wow, like there wasn't really anything to look forward to except my Magic the Gathering play group.
Right.
And by the way, we don't talk like this.
Yeah.
It's just about the game.
Yeah. Do you have conversations like the ones that we have, like with anyone else?
My sponsor, that's about it.
Yeah.
But even therapy, like I noticed something's got to change a little bit because I don't feel as I can open up. Although maybe it's part of the process because for the first time I just got angry. Not at my therapist, but just angry. I was like, ugh, and that's where the hopelessness came because I'm like, I'm trying to do everything I can.
How long have you been with this therapist or doing therapy in general?
I mean, I do therapy off and on my whole life, but I especially have it like when a breakup or a big life thing event happens. So this one is, I've had this therapist for about 4 months.
Okay.
And I just got really just like, I just don't know. It's worse this week, you know? He assured me it's normal, but yeah, I kind of just went off and just vented a lot. Because obviously when we talk, it's like trying to get more vulnerable, but for some reason that session was all about anger. I was just angry how things didn't turn out. And I hate the word yet. When people are like, to say yet at the end. And I'm like,
yeah, it feels a certain kind of patronizing, a certain kind of platitude is like a good word for that, right? It's like a certain kind of like, I know you want me to feel better, you want me to say the word, but sometimes doesn't it feel like when people do stuff like that it's like they want to feel good watching you make yourself feel good.
Yeah.
And so it's this weird kind of thing.
Or like this, like, how do you know it's better that it's supposed to be closed? Whatever I wanted.
Right.
Why are you saying yet, like as if it's going to happen and maybe it's better to close so I can move on to something else?
Yeah. Because the thing about your work and the ways that some of our work kind of overlaps, the Hollywood sort of stuff, the show business, entertainment world sort of stuff, is that like so much of it is dependent on other people letting us do what we want to do or letting us do anything, you know, right? And that has been, we're in a coffee shop. I used to own and run coffee shops, building a business, employing people, serving customers. Like, that's what I wanted to do. And the day that I decided I wanted to do it, it was just about figuring out all the steps to make it happen, where like there were generally very few people who were standing in the way who could say no, who I needed them to greenlight anything.
Well, how do you handle the uncertainty then, or other
I hate
people?
it.
You hate it.
I hate it. It is frustrating, and I think that like there is this. I think it makes me think it'd be an interesting thing to talk about. Like, as men, I think there's our relationship to entertainment versus women, without saying too much about women's experience, because I can't speak to that, but just from the outside, like, I would guess, and people online and Kimmy can, give feedback on this, that like women are generally used to being perceived, being judged a certain way, right?
Yeah.
To where like, I think the Hollywood judgment and the sort of gatekeeping there is not completely different from what you already experience in life, whereas for men, I feel like it can kind of really shake you up. But you were also a model for a long time, so I know
that shook me up.
Yeah,
that shook me up a lot. I mean, I was in a personal training business for a long time. That was still uncertain. During the economic collapse, that was really uncertain. So then I went into modeling again,
But again, whereas like people have to cast you, people have to,
Totally.
Like other people are deciding whether you get to work or not.
Yeah, and I think I like this because it's like we get to at least do the work.
Yeah.
Nobody has to say, oh, well, we got to approve filming today or talking to each other today.
Right.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's another reason why I was a little depressed. I didn't feel like I was in control of anything that week.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah.
So, like, how are you feeling about those feelings then right now?
I'm making some moves in my life. I read a lot of Old Testament.
Oh.
I read a lot of the Tanakh. I read a lot of Jewish practices, which is like kind of blindsiding you a little bit, but like I have
Reading's good.
Well, I have a very
Everyone likes a man who reads.
I have a very close relationship with Judaism recently. And just finding a lot of learning in the book. So that really put a lot of comfort because I got to see a lot of my mistakes and I got a lot to see about myself. And so I think I just took a lot to study spiritually.
And you find comfort, that makes you feel better.
It does. I feel very much more sane when I dive into my spiritual side rather than the intellectual side.
Why do you think that is, or what is it about that for you?
Well, they say it in the AA literature. They just said the God idea works. I mean, it just works.
Yeah.
Whether it's real or if it's just an idea, it works for me.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
From what I've learned about you and observed about you, one thing that's for sure is you're an extrovert. So am I, right? And I know that like a big part of my journey through understanding myself, last week we talked about needs. And obviously we're just scratching the surface, just the tip of the iceberg, right? When it comes to like that sort of stuff. Part of it is like, there are things like being an extrovert. And you're Korean, like ethnically Korean, like didn't necessarily grow up in a Korean sort of like household, right? But like for me, sometimes I don't know how much of it is because of the way my parents were, like as individuals, how much of it is like Korean culture, how much of it is like...
'Cause they immigrated here, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm an immigrant. I was a baby. I was one when we moved to the States. But like, I have this weird thing where everything about me is in some ways like just an objective thing. Like, again, being an extrovert, like it just is. It's just true. Also, like, I'm like, yeah, this is cool. Like, I'm an extrovert. Like, my radar is outward. Like, I really care about, what people have to say, what they think. Like, more so maybe than some other people might. Then there's always another part of me that's also like ashamed of it. You know,
being an extrovert or
Yeah.
the approval of other people?
the being an extrovert,
Extrovert.
and the things that come with it.
Right.
There's like this. It's a shame that kind of creeps in.
It's very
where it's like,
Korean,
oh, I'm
though.
being too extra, or I'm not like, you know, just all the sort of like other side of the coin stuff that is like the weak part of everything. And so then I'll find myself sometimes like, I don't necessarily dwell on it too much, I don't think, but it definitely comes up a lot for me. And then I'm sort of juggling and wrestling all those things all at once. And
Do you talk about it with Kimmy, or who do you talk about it
I
with?
talk about it a lot with Kimmy, and this is part of what I was kind of getting at, that you're actually helping me get back on track, which is that like part of being an extrovert is accepting, in my experience, and speaking from my own journey, is like there was a point at which in that sort of shame spiral, feeling like my weakness as an extrovert is that I can't do stuff on my own. Like I need other people to feel at my best, or to like work things out, to talk things out, to process, you know, all that kind of stuff. You know, like when things get tough, like even though we talked about like it's tough to pick up the phone, like it hasn't always been very tough for me. Like I think about like, who do I want to talk to about this right now? Like sometimes it was my mom, sometimes it's certain friends. There came a point at which I started realizing like, that's part of who I am, and maybe that's okay.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
if you want to be, I'm not a spiritual necessarily or like a religious person, but if it is helpful for you to think like this is how God made me, then maybe that, you know, but like from what you shared with me, it feels like relationships are so important to you, and that right now, like to diagnose the situation from like, again, like a young perspective is that like, you have a shortage of relationships that are feeding in you and filling your tank in that way.
Yeah.
You know, is that
Yeah.
something you've talked about with your therapist at all?
Actually, I haven't. So I lost a lot of identity, I believe, like once my first show got off the air.
Well, Bling Empire,
Empire.
Netflix, 3 seasons.
Well, it was more this. It was more like, oh, I get to, instead of just talking about Asian identity, I get to be it. And the whole community was backing behind it at one point, and I got to live what I was speaking. And then once it gets shut down, it's like, oh, shoot, like that was my whole identity. Like it fulfilled me mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, everything, right? And then once that was stripped away, it's like, okay, now I'm trying to stay on the path of it fulfills me emotionally, identity-wise.
Right.
But I haven't found anything afterwards that has. None of the movie projects have. None of the other reality shows I have. I have the idea of some reality shows in my head that I know I would feel fulfilled with, but they haven't worked for me yet.
Right.
But yeah, I lost
Not
a
to
lot of
mention,
myself.
you have to be able to get someone's attention to take you seriously in terms of your ideas and concepts and stuff then, right?
Totally.
Right.
And that was an idea, like, Bling Empire was an idea before all Asian content was a thing yet. I mean, it was still a social experiment, which people don't realize. There was no, they didn't.
How was it a social experiment?
Well, because Netflix, like, wasn't, all these things that you see with the, 100, Physical 100 Asia.
Oh, yeah.
The, what's that Korean show? Singles Inferno. Beef even. None of that was even on their radar before Bling.
The idea of like an Asian cast.
Yes. An Asian cast leading a show.
Obviously, there was Crazy Rich Asians before, but that was a feature film. That's different. So you're saying that for... Yeah.
Not reality TV, but also too. Crazy Rich Asians was the first for sure, but then it wasn't on. It wasn't,
what do you call it? Joy Luck Club, right?
It wasn't even on Netflix though.
Yeah.
Like Netflix was trying to find their first all Asian cast of something.
Right.
You know, they tried unscripted in different ways, but it's like Bling Empire was still an experiment for them.
Yeah.
And so that's what I mean. It's like I had such joy being that experiment, and then proving everybody right. I mean, wrong. Sorry, that Asians can lead a show.
Making the case that Asians can carry a show and have it be a hit show, but at the same time, it like the reality check part is like, there are these different reality shows that seem to check boxes of different subgroups and like different identities, right? Here's the Asian one, here's the Shaws of Sunset, here's the whatever one, kind of thing. And not only did that spotlight kind of turn from you, Kevin, and kind of go away, but in some ways felt like, when it came to reality, it's like, okay, we did the Asian reality show.
Right.
Check. We've checked that box. We can always point back to that and say, well, we did that.
Let's check other boxes now.
Yeah, on to other boxes.
Love on the Spectrum now.
Right.
All the crazy rich in Dubai now.
Right,
like,
right.
It's exactly that.
Right. And so that's kind of be part of your frustration too.
Yeah, no, I think I'm in acceptance of it now by feeling all those things. I'm like, okay, well, look, I saw my mistakes. I saw what could have been. It's not. But now I have to move forward of like what is.
Yeah.
And like what is I have you, I have this, I have manager, I do have a career that has some great accolades, whatever you want to call it. And I just have to let the rest go at this point. But I need to get back on the path of doing things that are meaningful for me again, because that's what got me where I was.
Right.
Like the meaning of Asian representation, masculinity for Asian men, breaking those stereotypes, offering a different vision of what an Asian guy could be.
But that's the thing, right? It's like, in preparation for us doing this, as well as just getting to know you, like...
You prep to talk to me?
Well, it's like, Kimmy knows, if we go see a movie, I come home, what do?
He has to research everything about it.
Wow, I'll watch all the YouTube videos about it. I'll read about it. I'll get the lore. I'll get
all the Easter eggs. Yeah,
65 things that you missed that you whatever.
That's
like
impressive.
And that's just, I've always been that way. I think I really get that from my dad. Like my dad is that kind of like nerdy about stuff like that too. And so, but also it's like when I care about somebody, it's a different kind of spotlight, right? It's different from the Netflix spotlight. Like I have my own kind of. It's just more of like a telescope almost, or like a viewfinder where, like when I'm interested in somebody or something, then I'm hungry for information. Like I want to, and as well as just like kind of observing you, and what's very clear is that there's a certain sense and search for purpose as an individual as well as professionally. Like your sort of public persona identity. It's like, what was really easy, like not easy, like was very obvious at one point was like Kevin Kreider, Bling Empire, and now that Bling Empire is like formerly Bling Empire, then it's like, oh, okay, traders, like that's great. Like how's this am I gonna go on different like games, like, celebrity game show kind of things, one after another. Like, is that my destiny? Like, I'm sure you've wondered that. Like, am I supposed to go on Family Feud now? Or like...
I already did that.
You did?
Yeah, I already did that.
Yeah, like stuff like each one of the things, right? Am I supposed to go on Survivor? Am I supposed to go on Big Brother? Like,
right.
Is that my path? But then at the same time, you've got your book that you're writing. Your prior podcast, Kevin Kreider Show, the subtitle was like everyone has adopted something, right?
Yeah.
And so,
wow, you really did do a dive.
Yeah. Because because I take this seriously. I take you seriously. I take myself seriously. But like, I think that just to be clear, like, I don't have any answers either, right, for these things. I'm trying to figure stuff out in many ways for myself also. Like doing the social media persona thing, Korean dad thing, comes with its own trying to figure out sort of what this all means, what this means for myself. I think I do have an advantage of, with my life experience and professional experience, having seen enough to where, like, I generally know, I have a decent sense of what I need to do.
Yeah.
It's more a matter of whether I feel like that's really worth putting the effort into.
Well, it's almost like this. When your coffee business was taking off, right? You felt like a purpose then, right? Right?
Big time.
And then you have kids. You feel like, okay, this is my purpose too then. I kind of felt like that, not like with having kids, but I had that with Bling and my reality TV world for a little bit. And then I was like, oh, my next step is to do acting.
Yeah.
But just never really happened.
Do you know why they didn't continue? Did they tell you why they stopped at 3 seasons?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of reasons.
I'm sure there's a lot you can't talk about.
I mean, some of it's, you can just look online. There's a lot of reasons. Well, one of our castmates died.
Of course.
And that was a big castmate. Like, that was a close friend of mine.
That was a while. You talk about Anna.
Yeah,
but that was a while after the show was over.
No. It was very
really?
close. It was very close. It was very close.
I guess it was.
Yeah, but you are right. It was a little bit afterwards, though.
Yeah.
But even if they wanted to revamp it, we lost one of our main castmates, right?
Yeah.
2, there was a lot of lawsuits behind. I mean, they were very visible. You can look it online. But,
okay. You're like, Google it. I don't want to talk about it.
You can Google it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to put anybody under the bus, but let's just say that our producer who made the headlines getting sued by a castmate was not the first lawsuit.
Okay.
There's others that happened before. So also too, viewership just went down, and then the numbers were good enough for another season, but Netflix just has super high metrics. And that's the problem that they don't know how to solve. What I've heard is that they don't know how to solve for.
They want home runs only, no singles, doubles, even a triple's not good enough.
Or how to retain viewers, because what they find is after every first season, viewership just keeps going down. Right. But it's also too, they have a problem of it just takes too long for it to come back out, season 2 and 3. It was a year and a half.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of the chatter about that. I feel like there's a weird sort of correlation here between this effect and like the dating sort of experiences people have. We talked about it last week, right? Like this idea of like, for some people, that keeping things fresh and exciting is like really important, and they don't know how to like sustain a relationship, you know, long term, because they're always like, okay, that was really fun and exciting. Now it's more mundane, on to the next one kind of idea. Like, I don't know.
So after kids, like, how did you find purpose, or did you ever lose purpose? Because like I hear there's an empty nest syndrome sometimes. You lose purpose
when your kids go off to school or something like that. I mean, the best way that I would answer the question of like purpose in my life is that, so as I said, I'm not religious. But I was. When I was 19, 20 years old, I thought I was going to be a church pastor.
You were a Christian, right?
Yeah,
that's a very
Korean I grew up United Methodist, Washington Haningyoe United Methodist Church of Korean United Methodist Church of Greater Washington. Whoop, whoop, whoop. We used to have like church softball teams and stuff, and go to tournaments against other Korean churches and things like that. It was really fun.
Softball's very Christian thing.
I was very involved, and as a young person, I after my second year of college, I took a year off from college and went to Bangladesh and taught music at a missionary school for a year. It was part of my kind of searching. And I thought I was going to be a church pastor. And a friend of mine, Young Park, had sort of challenged me like to really like wrestle with this first. Like, don't just dive into it. And so I took a year and went abroad and had this missionary experience, teaching music. Through that year, you don't like the pinky?
I learned that it means you have syphilis. I mean, just, it was a Bridgerton thing. It signals if you have syphilis.
Bridgerton?
Yeah, Bridgerton was going on, and somebody was saying, like, this makes you look classy, or at least they think they do, but actually it was a royal thing, and they said this is signaling syphilis. So I'm protecting your reputation here.
I'm going to put it down.
Yeah.
Just for you, Kevin.
Thank you.
But, like, one of the things that was a really, like, life-changing experience, as you can imagine, like, an experience like that is... Can't help but be life-changing. And there's a lot of ways that it did. And one of the ways that it did was like when I'm there and I feel like my purpose going there is like I'm trying to, you know, follow God's plan for me and do this thing that I feel called to do. It's a very special situation to be in. And like when I have to go to the bathroom and pee, I get to go to the bathroom to pee knowing I have to do this so I can get back to going and doing God's work. You know, it's a very unique circumstance. And being not religious now, like for me, it's a little bit sort of self-imposed. It's like a thing that like you kind of tell yourself. But it was really interesting as through that experience. But what it definitely did was it really hammered home for me this idea of like, even if I don't have that kind of religious life to speak of, that purpose part of me really stuck with me.
Yeah.
I might not have that be my purpose, but I'm going to have purpose.
Yeah.
And so if there's one thing that has continued through my life since then, and again, being lucky enough in my early 20s, that I've never lived without purpose,
Yeah, I think for me now, where I am with purpose, what I loved about Bling was that it was tied with not just a identity purpose, social purpose, but also to me it was a spiritual purpose. Like I was very connected to God at the time. Now I felt like a disconnect from everything. But now I'm finding a reconnection through Judaism, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just reading a lot about. Last week I did some stuff. Like I have lots of close Jewish friends, and I talk to rabbis even online and stuff. And I was just going through it. I was like, I feel like
You have an AI rabbi you talk
no,
to?
There is
actual
one.
rabbi.
There is one?
Because Yvette uses one. It's like a Kabbalah thing.
Yeah, this is not a Kabbalah. This is more of a
Is it?
Reform rabbi.
Well, no, but it's something with Judaism. But she has an AI thing that she talks to.
What I've learned about
course.
Kabbalah, it's a little bit more mystical
Okay.
than it is like actually Judaism, but it's based off of that. But I have friends who are very Jewish and just inspired me to start looking back at the Torah, the books and the lessons in there. And so I started to, for the first time, talking to a rabbi and about like just forgiveness and just doing what kind of David did back in the Bible, which is like he repented, he fasted for a day, he prayed, he repented and just made a new promise to God. And I did that, and I talked to the rabbi, and he's like, yes, all of these things are true. It's like you don't have to feel like you're burdened by not being forgiven anymore. And for real, like this is the first time I felt that. I was like, oh, wow, I didn't get forgiveness. I didn't feel that way from Buddhism. I didn't feel that way from Christianity. But for some reason, Judaism, I'm like, when the rabbi emailed me that, I felt that I was forgiven for the
Power of
first
the
time.
email.
So crazy, though. But
Yeah.
I knew him in person, too, though. It was just talking to him through email. Yeah. But so now I'm feeling like, okay, I'm back on my spiritual path. Now I'm trying to find that purpose and identity with that now.
Can I ask how much you feel like that sort of spiritual path for you is tied to your AA experience?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's all AA,
Because
right?
the AA, I'm curious as to why, and I don't know if you have any insight on this, why AA, it is sort of the main, if not like, there's only one that I know of, a thing like it for alcoholics. But then it's like tied very much to sort of a religious, sort of spiritual thing. And for me, it's like, well, what if you're not religious? Then do you not get to sort of really take in the full AA experience?
Most people come into AA non-religious. Like I was atheist when I first came in. But yeah, they just say it's a spiritual program. The trick is that actually it's based off of spiritual Christian principles. But the things that I think AA have are more looking at your own faults for things, looking where you need to make amends and clean up and repair the bridges that you burnt. And
the
then
12 steps.
Yeah. And I just think that's really what's missing in a lot of other religions. It's too much about repenting and then not doing anything of the people you've harmed in the past. And I think that's where AA has that extra spiritual power for me. Because when I like made amends to all the people I fucked over or were mean to, family, relationship wise, like you'd be shocked how much that weighs on you. And to hear somebody and look at them and be like, no, I forgive you.
Yeah.
Like there's a weight lifted.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I can't describe.
I carry a persistent kind of skepticism about things like this all the time in my
About
head.
AA, you mean?
No. About the causation, what we call causation correlation sort of fallacy. It's like,
Sure.
something happens and then it makes you feel a certain way. And for me, it's like what you're describing. It's like, well, of course, that's a certain human connection and a vulnerability that is always going to yield, positive sort of results. In some ways, regardless of the reason why, like that kind of opening up. And I feel like, especially with men, it feels like, being, and these conversations that we continue to have about like men sort of needing almost need to be tricked into doing certain things. It's like, oh, it's not this. You're not actually doing this. You're doing this.
Oh, we did.
And then you send them on their way, and then they come back like, I felt so good. Instead of like starting out being like, how about we focus on connection? What that means. Maybe that doesn't happen as often because it doesn't work as much. I don't know.
I didn't go into AA thinking I'd find God.
Yeah.
Or purpose or a spiritual connection.
Yeah.
Just thought I would just feel better.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do have to be tricked a little bit, but I think it's because we think we're smarter than we really are. That's why we got to be tricked a little bit.
I mean, that's why mansplaining came up.
You know what mansplaining is? It's short for men explaining. You know that, right?
That's great.
Just wanted to explain that to you, okay?
Yeah. Actually, I'm not so sure if you really have the definition perfectly right. I actually think that it's only actually called mansplaining when it's from the region of France called splaination.
Oh, I like that too.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
That's
Otherwise, it's just called sparkling bullshit. Let's dive into some questions. We've been asking folks to send in their questions.
Oh, we got some.
A few.
Nice.
Someone asks, he's introverted, I'm extroverted. How did you manage losing friends when you got into a serious relationship?
Oh.
So, yeah, like for a lot of people, when they get into a long-term relationship, all of a sudden their social circle kind of shrinks.
That's me.
Or they lose touch.
That's me.
That's you?
Yeah, I'm even an extrovert.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
No.
Oh, it grows?
But Kimmy's also an extrovert. So Kimmy's the first extrovert that I've ever been with.
I would have thought that'd be exhausting, but it's not, huh?
It's the best.
It's the best.
Yeah.
Well, I'm more like in the middle. Like I lean extroverted, but like I also enjoy
Gotcha.
my time. to
Yeah.
myself.
I mean, everybody does. I do too.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a lot of alone time also,
Yeah,
but we're
yeah.
also together a lot, both of those things. But to me, like, that's not the interesting part, right? The interesting part
I
of
mean,
it.
both of our social circles grew. Like my friends became his friends became my
Yeah,
friends.
yeah, but
so
that-
like our social group
Yeah.
just
When Kimmy and I
Yeah.
got together, I had these friends that were scheduled to visit LA, me here in LA. I live just down the street from here. And Ginny and Jolana, they were visiting from Austin, Texas. They're old roommates of mine from back in the day, from like almost 20 years ago. And they were visiting, and I'm like looking at Kimmy, like, okay, so I have these friends coming. And she's like, oh, yeah? I'm like, yeah, so...
we were coming back from my sister's wedding.
Yeah, so I'm like, I guess I'll see you after my friends are gone. And Kimmy's like, okay. And then I looked at him like, wait a second. You want to hang out with them with me too? She's like, sure. And I was like, oh my God, you do? Like, this never happens. This has never happened before.
They usually don't want to hang
My
out
prior
with?
partners were a little bit, seemed to have the attitude a little bit more like, those are your friends. They're not my friends. I didn't choose those friends. Like, I don't really want to hang out with them. And if they do, then they're sort of just like kind of humoring or like out of certain kind of obligation or social grace or whatever. But that, so then when they came, we all, four of us hung out together and had the best time. And, it definitely made me fall for Kim even more and realizing like sort of the type of relationship that I'd been missing out on, that like it could be like this too.
But do you have any group of friends that are just yours though? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And does Kimmy, you have friends that are just your girlfriends that you don't really mix with Nick?
Not by design, not on
No.
purpose.
Not on
but,
purpose.
But it's more...
More so they're like on the other side of the country, so he hasn't met them yet. But
Gotcha.
It can be that.
Gotcha.
Shout out to Vet and Devin over in the UK. Her two like closest friends who I haven't met yet. But
like when they call, like, and they're on speaker, like, and Nick's there, like, they, he chimes in and stuff like that. There's no like uncomfortability, like.
But that's also a lot to do with me, right?
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's also like. Like we were talking about last week, like most of my friends have been women. And so I'm very comfortable with those kind of conversations. I know that not every guy is like that. For a lot of men, it's like, why do you want me to talk to them? I don't know, like, what will we talk about?
Or
and vice versa.
Some people act kind of funny when their like partner is there with them. So then they feel like they can't talk to their friends the way that they normally do.
Yeah.
But I'm like everything, like Nick knows pretty much everything as well too. So.
But how's that been for you?
Unfortunately, like I've had both where it's just like we blend everything together. Well, actually, no, I haven't. No, I've only had two types of relationships. One where it was separate, very separate, our friends. And then the other one was where all my friends were their friends, but I didn't get to be friends with any of their friends, if that makes sense.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I think that doesn't work either. So maybe the mix of both.
I mean, did it seem to work for them?
Yeah, it probably works for them. But even then, they get to pick and choose when they want to come out.
Very often, part of being an extrovert is that you end up being sort of the more accommodating one, right? You're the one who's like, well, if that's what you need, then I can do that for you. Whereas the introvert very often, and I know this is generalization, and there's other sides of that coin also, but for a lot of the introverts, they're like, this is me. I can't handle this. Or like, and so then they kind of draw a boundary there, which they're entitled to do. But that's one of the less explored parts of boundaries is you also don't have to accept the boundary. You can also say like, I see your boundary. That's totally a good boundary for you to have. I'm opting out. This is not for me.
I think I'm definitely with more introverts than extroverts.
Yeah, it's a natural sort of, almost like a yin yang kind of like.
I actually had one extrovert as an ex, and that was fun. Her friends became my friends, and vice versa. We had a good friend group. It was back in college, so it didn't work out. Not that it can't work out because we're in college, but are you basically saying you need to be with another extrovert if you're an extrovert?
I don't know that that's true.
Because I heard opposites attract.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, but attract is not everything. Also, I think that the idea of like losing friends.
Is that codependent?
I think that like
because you could both be extroverts, but if you're the type that like when you get into a relationship, it's like all consuming.
Yeah, your world gets smaller.
Then also too, then you're like not regularly doing the things that you would normally do.
I think that there's
because you have the other person that you need for the connection.
There are a lot of conversations about how difficult it is, not just for men, but for people over a certain age to kind of kindle new friendships.
Yeah.
It's something people talk about a lot. I think that like when it comes to the subject of when you get into a couple and things seem to change, I mean, I guess that would be where I find myself going, is that the losing friends is one thing. The other side of it is more that something is changing for you because you're in a relationship.
Like you're changing.
Either you're changing, well, this person is saying like they're losing friends. So something's happening. Obviously, it's like if it's something that they themselves are doing to cause that directly, that's something worth examining. I don't think that's what they're probably talking about. I think they're saying either something about being in a relationship or something about their partner or something like that.
Because I think in the beginning, you always distance from friends a little bit because you're like into the person, but then it kind of goes back to normal.
When I was talking about making friends when you're older, when it's harder, it just means you have to try harder. Like that's the answer. Very often. I think that a lot of times, things were easier when you're younger or in different circumstances.
Yeah.
And then people are like, it was so easy then, why isn't it easy now?
Right.
Because it's not. Like, there's more effort to put in, more intentionality. And I think that, like, when you're younger with school and different activities, there's a way that social sort of environments are created around you that friends just pop up like weeds, you know? Whereas for later, you have to cultivate that yourself.
Right.
It's not something that someone else is going to do for you.
Right. And I think, yeah, exactly. And people living in an instant gratification world, the harder stuff that was even harder before technology and everything is even more harder now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, why don't I have friends? Where's the app to order up my friends? Like, people tried. Bless you. People tried to make that, right, with a lot of the dating apps and different things. It's like, oh, you can find friends this way. Like, I'm sure some people did, but I guarantee the people who did, like, that initiative that they took to even do that was the thing that accomplished that. It wasn't the app itself.
Right.
And so I think that, like, that would be my advice, is that realize that, you know, you've had the power within you the whole time. Just click your heels together, you know, is not the thing.
I have a question, too. Do you think the other significant other's friends is a reflection of the person as well? Like, for instance, if you and Kimmy didn't like each other's friends, like, what if you found her friends to be like kind of like shallow, superficial, and that's all her closest friends? Do you think that's a reflection of her too?
I think that it's worth conversations, you know, if that were the case, because, like, I think that Kimmy and I have both had friends that we've each been like, that's an interesting friend that you have that is a little different than the other friends you have. Every time there's been some kind of story about, like, they're an old friend from back in the day, and this is why we're friends, and this is the kind of friend we are, and this is what we do together. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, not everyone is your BFF, your inner circle, right? Like, some people are, you know, this, some people are that, some people are acquaintances. Yeah, I've had prior partners straight up, like, observe some of my friends and go, like, that's not a friend. That's not a real friend to you, you know, kind of thing. And I was really thrown off. Like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
You know, that felt like a certain type of controlling.
Because I was going to say, too, like, with maybe this situation, maybe both in the relationship don't like each other's friends, right? Then they start to drop off. And
I think the most common reason is just that, like, you start to become sort of so tight that it's like your tank is full, and so you're not reaching out to other people as much. And then guess what? Like, those kind of relationships tend to, you know, like, Kimmy and I are really good at, like, keeping things, you know, in touch with friends and stuff, and we still are dissatisfied in that way. We're still, like, look at each other, we're like, God, we have not really kept this in touch as much as we want to.
And that's two extroverts that put an effort into it.
Yeah. So,
Right.
But for us, like, at no point is anyone sitting around thinking that anything is anyone else's fault or anyone, you know, kind of thing, or blaming anyone else. It's more just like, this is something, you know, that if I want to be better, then I have to invest. You know, and that's it.
The answer to this question is, it's the introvert's fault.
No.
No, that's not it?
No introvert slander on this podcast.
So become an extrovert.
Yeah.
Because even two extroverts, it's hard.
He said it, not me.
All in jest.
I'm not going to look it up just because it's going to take a little bit, but someone asked a question about, what was it, about aging?
Your thoughts on aging.
Oh,
like,
aging.
Yeah, for yourself. Like, is it an insecurity? How are you embracing getting older? Are there things that you're doing?
You're 41.
43.
43.
Actually turning 43 in August.
You're turning. When's your birthday?
August 20th.
Exciting.
We're going to have something. Yeah, I'm going to throw something for us. You know, my thing with aging, I was actually very comfortable with it and looking forward to it until I got involved in the Asian community.
Oh.
Yeah. Because they're obsessed with youth culture.
I heard you talking about this with, was it Kevin?
Yeah, Kevin Wu.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a little disappointing, actually. I think a lot of people are obsessed with youth culture in general, though. But I think especially Asians.
You think so?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are. Like, you see things people are saying, like, oh, Henry Cavill looks old. He should take care of himself more. Like, I think a lot of people don't give people a lot of grace to age, especially women, right? But even as a man, I've even noticed in the Asian community, it's like, Yeah, I don't think aging gracefully is a thing
I
yet.
thought it would
for a
be
lot of
less because Asians look more youthful.
Yeah, but that's what I mean, because we just naturally do. But if you show any sign of aging, they're like, what's wrong with you? You know? And I think that's kind of
Where exactly are you experiencing this?
a lot of
Because
it's
this
just
is
like,
not my experience.
it's like, I think it's like K-pop experience, you know?
Yeah, but you're not trying to be a K-pop star, are you?
No, but I'm trying to be an actor. You know, a lot of people are like looking for that. But
Yeah.
that's what I mean. But that's why I say, like, when I get outside the Asian community, you know, the auditions I go for require like, you know, just an Asian man. Like, yeah,
I see what you're saying.
They're good with aging.
Yeah,
you know?
either they want you to be a youthful vampire in
Yeah.
some kind of thing, or Mr. Miyagi, and there's nothing in between.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
kind of an in between. It feels like sometimes. So that's why I feel, I don't know. There needs to be a change in that. I think in that mindset, because that's just showing the extremes that I think are happening in this world. I mean, how have you experienced aging? Because now you're a dad. That's why I don't mind being a daddy, because it's like still young enough for me.
I mean, that's the thing. I can understand that for you. You know, I have a friend who said this phrase, and I kind of stole it from him for a while. Like, I'm not sure if I'm the oldest young guy or the youngest old guy. You know, I love that sort of idea. I still feel that way because I have friends who are like, I'm making new friends that are like 19 years old because of like Pokemon. And then, you know, I've always made like a lot older friends too. I've never had, like Kimmy and I, one of the things that we share is that like we have this, we're simultaneously very much our age and also kind of timeless at the same time. Like I could be older, I could be younger. You know.
But we have like eight years difference between us.
Yeah.
But what like everything like that he'll talk about from like, you know, the 80s or the 90s and stuff, like I'm still familiar with, but I love stuff from like prior to being born, you know.
Yeah, 8's not a huge time difference anymore when you're older as well, you know?
Yeah. But I mean,
But we can talk to like my son who's like 11 and know exactly what's like viral on the internet
Yeah.
right now, and he's always shocked.
Yep.
As long as interest is young, you're timeless.
we just like to know what's going on, not just with, you know, our kids, but just in general. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we're both very much online and read a lot about what's going on. And so just a certain kind of curiosity.
I was going to say, this is what I have a hard time with aging too, with being Asian, is that I get just so many comments from people saying, mostly Asian, shave your facial hair.
Right.
But everybody else is like, oh, I really like it. Like, I really like it too. I mean, I remember being a
You do
kid
what-
and
you do
wanting
what you
facial
like.
hair, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, but the reason why is because they're always like, you look older. And I'm like, so?
You think
I-
so? You think it's the beard or like the
No, I
facial hair makes you look
actually
older?
am told
Yeah, but-
that it makes you look older. Might as well look young while you're young. This is what I hear.
Also, you can just brush that stuff off as being, that's a stylistic choice. You guys can think that if you want. Like that's, or even if it is a cultural thing, it's like that's your cultural sort of like, you know, bias. That's great for you. I don't have to worry about it.
Well, totally. I mean, if
You know, there are people who would be like, Kevin, you're really pale. And there are other people who are like, oh my God, you're getting too much sun. You need to like wear more sunscreen.
Yeah.
Everything's relative.
Well, that's what I mean. If I cared, I would have shaved for today, but I don't.
I mean, how much is this tied back to our earlier conversation about like your work and stuff like that? Do you feel like it's a hindrance in terms of, you know, your work stuff?
I think it can be because like the way I am and who I am and what I believe like I like the best for me is not so Asian. So then a lot of Asians who are super Asian don't want to work with me, or like they just don't think I'm Asian enough for certain things. So it's like they think I'm whitewashed or I'm not cultural enough and all that kind of stuff. But I'm like, dude, it's fucking acting for a reason.
Yeah.
It's just acting.
Yeah.
Like it's not an autobiography.
Right. But that's just not your people. It's like dating,
That's what
right?
I mean.
And that's not your person.
A lot, like I said, the Asian community is just not my people in Hollywood a lot of times.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
I thought they would be, but they were my biggest obstacle, actually.
Now that you say that, I'm thinking like it's a bummer that like we're not at a time where movies like Predator and like Schwarzenegger movies, because you would have made a great like member of the crew on Alien or something like that.
I know.
Yeah.
That I thought I would be. Oh no, okay. So I had an aging thing that happened to me just recently. I was literally just sitting, like this, and now I had a cramp in my back
Just now?
spasm. No, it just happened yesterday.
Oh, okay.
And I had to take Advil or else I couldn't stand up straight. I'm
Yeah.
like, what the fuck is this? You need
Yeah,
Advil just to sit?
Wait, did you miss the part where you're 43 years old?
Does that happen normally?
Things can tighten up and things like that. You just got to stay flexible.
I stretch almost every day.
Yeah, it's
Crazy.
Wait until you. Have you not done the thing yet where you just wake up and then all of a sudden there's a sting in your neck and
Oh,
then it
yeah,
feels
yeah. I
like
have
someone
that.
stabbed your neck and
I
then
have
for
that.
like 2 days you're like, oh yeah, this crick in my neck.
Yeah, I'm not sleeping on my side again.
Yeah,
you know?
it's the worst.
That's a real thing, huh? That's why
From what you're saying, it does make me feel like me being a dad makes a difference. Like
Why?
I think that having the kids adds a certain perspective. There's an anchoring, right? Like my kids are like 21 and 23 years old. And so me being like 52, it's like, of course I'm 52. Look at my kids. They're 23
right.
years old.
Right.
Like, so far you don't have that anchor to be like, yeah, like there's kind of thing.
I
And
see.
so it makes sense that like kind of in both directions, you're a little bit more like free flowing through the timeline of like not really having that sense as sort of obvious or like kind of
Yeah.
internalized in that way, maybe.
Yeah, I think what the real keys of aging for me too is like I can't have cold brew anymore because
Coffee.
keeps me up.
Don't drink cold brew. It's
Yeah.
bad for you.
Is it really though?
It's not really bad for you. It's in the coffee industry for a while. One of the things I was known for was being a cold brew hater. Yeah.
Because it's just so too much caffeine, everything. Like,
To me, the problem with cold brew is that God, I don't know if we want to get into it. but
no, just tell me the highlights of it because I stay
He
up.
just doesn't think it tastes
I get
optimum.
agitated.
So cold brew, it doesn't really do the quality coffee justice. It's totally fine to like cold brew, just like it's totally fine to like, really almost anything. It's just that like, don't give me a Snickers bar and tell me this is like Michelin star pastry chef quality.
Oh, because you're
of a
saying it's
thing.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It-
Gotcha.
it's sort of like the purview of like old school, like second wave, like,
Gotcha.
gas station coffee kind of quality.
Right.
There's a company called Stumptown Coffee from Portland
Heard
that
of them.
popularized cold brew in like the late 2000s. And they did it because it was a way for them to brew off their like messed up roasts and their like coffee that they had lying around. Like it was a way for them to sell off stuff under the brand name of this quality coffee company.
Right.
But it was different enough that people kind of almost were tricked into like thinking that it was like a really high quality thing because everything else they were doing was pretty high quality. And so, yeah, like the founder of that company got pretty mad at me because I was kind of calling bullshit on cold brew. I'm like, this is a cash grab, essentially, what it boils down to. And they were like, fuck you, like, how dare you, whatever. I'm like, you can't argue with me.
Right. So we have nitro cold brew in my building.
Yeah.
But what I realized is as I got older or just on it, I was like, it's disrupting my sleep. I get very short-tempered, very agitated. Maybe because of I don't sleep as well. And I can't metabolize caffeine. Or maybe I just should not have cold brew. So I just stopped cold brew. I'm also going more vegetarian now these days.
Oh.
Yeah, because I just noticed, I think I'm just my joints ache less when I'm not eating meat.
Your joints ache less. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what that is. I tried
Might be inflammation.
Maybe,
Yeah.
but I just noticed, I'm just better on a vegetarian diet. And people say I'm a lot more kind on a vegetarian. Yeah, I'm a lot kinder.
You're nicer to old people and children and pets and
I'm
animals.
always, not animals so much, like dogs. I love dogs, actually. I started to hate dogs once I moved to LA, though.
Oh,
Because they're
interesting.
just so loud in the building. They just don't stop yapping.
Yeah.
I think it's the small dogs, not the big dogs.
Right.
They're just so unruly that I just
Oh my God, the animal parents are going to come after us.
They are, but we don't have to, put this in there. But I just get annoyed of the dog owners, I think, because I'm like, can you control your dog, please?
Yeah. The thing about aging as a man that I think about a lot. We talked about this a couple episodes ago. Where I asked you a question like, when you've babysat your nieces and nephews, like, had you had any insights about like what kind of parent you want to be?
Yeah.
And you said like yes and no. Like for me, like so much. You know, when I was babysitting other kids and observing like my nieces and nephews and my in-laws that were taking care of them, like a lot of observing the way parents would be and taking mental note about how I wanted to be or not be when I was a parent. I've kind of done that through my whole life. Actually, since I was a kid. Like there are things I would experience as a kid and I'd be like, okay, when I'm a parent, I'm not going to do that. Or I'm going to do that. So the reason I bring this up is that, and we've been talking about purpose a lot today, is this sort of thing that happens to a lot of men when they retire, which is that they kind of don't know what to do with themselves.
Totally.
And so, like, what's my purpose? Like, what am I here for kind of thing? And a lot of men get depressed.
Yeah.
There's a lot of divorces that happen after retirement, you know, because like that externalized sense of purpose is all of a sudden gone, and you're supposed to retire or you have to retire. It's like not really a choice for a lot of people, and then all of a sudden it's like your purpose is gone.
Yeah,
because you know, being the mailman or the doctor, or like whatever was your purpose.
It's like I think every male goes through a crisis at one point, right? They call it the midlife crisis for a reason, or like crisis of empty nest syndrome.
There are different these different kind of milestones in people's lives that you know, show up in different ways.
I wonder if I'm just in a midlife crisis.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be. It could be related to that to some degree. I think people say things like midlife crisis, like it's like a thing that happens at a certain time, but it's really caused by the circumstances of your life, right? Like where you are in your life right now.
Right.
Like, I'm sure that at age 43, there's part of you that's like, things should be more figured out at this point in my life than they are.
Yeah.
Or family stuff, personal stuff, relationship stuff, like work stuff, money stuff, like all that sort of stuff. I'm like 53.
53.
I turned 53 this year. I'm 52. Yeah.
I think how you forgot.
I have to remember. 1973. You know, like a lot of that stuff for me too. Like I'm still struggling with somewhat. But like I was saying, like that idea of losing purpose at an older age. So for me, like knowing that that's an experience that a lot of men have, then my response to that is I want to work on that stuff now. Like I want to at least think about it. Like it's a little related, but you know, there's this phrase, you know that show Succession?
Of course.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, love it.
So there's
didn't watch the last 4 episodes for some reason.
Oh yeah. There's this phrase that comes up that the Kieran Culkin character brought up when somebody dies. If you haven't seen it, somebody dies. And he talks about how I'm fine because I pre-grieved. And it's meant to be sort of like a joke. This kind of facetious, sort of weird statement. And I remember hearing that and being like, I'm kind of in the process of doing that about my parents. My parents are both still alive, but I'm kind of pre-grieving them. Because I know that like them passing away and me grieving their death actually means everything happened the way it was supposed to. If they're grieving my death, something went seriously wrong.
Right.
But if I'm grieving their death, it means everything went right. And so there's part of me that is, through every conversation I have, like really taking note of this as like being, you know, they're in their 80s now. My dad's in his 80s. My mom is going to be 80. And sort of like mentally and emotionally preparing for these things. And I feel like getting older, aging also, I'm trying to do a lot of just taking mental note. That way things don't just hit you out of nowhere. I've had enough things, as we all have, that kind of come out of nowhere. It's like, oh, that really hurts, and I didn't know that was going to happen.
It's almost like preparing for the worst, but hoping for the best.
Hope for the best, plan for the worst.
Yeah.
It's a little bit, but it's not about protecting myself by itself. It's also about instead of having a thing happen to me, it's like welcoming it. You know, Kimmy and I talk about like when it's time to die, like we're like looking forward to it, you know, kind of thing. And our kids are like, no, like, how can you say that? Don't say that. We don't want to hear you say that. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what you're supposed to say as our kid.
Yeah.
But also like for us, it's like, no, we want to welcome the different passages as much as possible, while also taking the wheel by both hands, the steering wheel. Like I'm trying to really go to the gym, and work on like muscle mass stuff and strength,
Better
because I
now
know
than
that
later.
that's a huge thing in your 50s.
No, I look at my dad now. He's 73, and he's starting to look at that now. And I'm like,
It's late.
it's a little late.
Yeah.
You know, you can
It's
get,
still, and no
better-
matter what
yeah.
age
It's
is
better than
better.
nothing.
It's
Yeah.
just, yeah.
but I think his language around it is too late. He's like, I want to build more muscle here. And I'm like, it's really about maintaining now at this
Right
point.
now,
Yeah.
it's just to protect his bones,
It's just to protect.
basically.
It's to maintain.
Yeah. But
Like-
you go to the gym and you see these dudes like with white hair and like wrinkles, and they're just,
Yeah,
in
but they were
great
doing
shape.
it years before.
Yeah.
Right?
And you're going to keep it up.
I totally
I have no
am.
doubt.
Totally, totally.
And I feel like at this point, I can't see myself like, I don't know. I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen? But like, I'm going to do my best to sort of keep up my muscle mass as much as I can. So in other words, like people use the phrase aging gracefully. I don't know if I relate to that phrase.
Why not?
Aging gracefully to me feels very much like just let it happen, kind of thing. Whereas for me, it's more like, oh, I know it's happening. And it's not so much about fighting it. It's still ultimately my life, and I get to do what I want to do, and things are going to go the way that I want them to go. But also, it's both things are true. Also understanding that there's things that I can do, there are things that I can't control. Both things are true, and I'm going to do my best with knowing all that stuff.
I think a lot of people what I interpreted that means is like just you don't get all that Botox and surgery where you look like a clown.
Yeah, see I don't relate to that. Like for instance, I don't think I've told you this. Kimmy knows very well. This 4K camera has been brutal to me in terms of like me seeing my own image for one specific thing.
What's that?
Is this?
What? Your neck?
Yeah.
Okay.
That like, because I've lost a lot of weight in the last few years.
Oh, it's just extra skin then.
I know. But the thing is that like, I don't feel like I necessarily look 53 years old, except for here, And so like, I don't want to approach these things in a deceptive way. It's like, am I ever going to go to Korea and get some, like a little bit of work and like a little bit of
what are your individual thoughts about like
Well,
cosmetics?
Yeah.
first of all, do you want to switch
Procedures.
cameras? Do you want to use my camera on you
We
and
have
my
the same
camera?
It's the same
Okay,
camera.
just making
now that
sure.
the settings are the same. Remember before you would be out of focus a lot?
Yeah.
But I updated the software on this one, and I reset both, and so now everything should be focusing just fine.
I think the surgery you're looking for, the whatever
Like a
you
neck
go
lift
through,
or something?
I think is totally cool. I'm talking about the ones that literally look like the women, the men that all look like they're clowns. Like they have the duck lips, the fillers, their skin is so artificially tight. And I think most people are like, especially me, I'm like, why hasn't anybody told you to stop? Like, you kind of look ridiculous. I think
this is more
that's
like
the
a question
aging.
for
Yeah.
yourself. Like when the time came,
That's
or
up to
if the
them,
time
yeah.
came, like would you be open to like any cosmetic procedures?
Well, I think for me, friends have asked me, they're like, do you want to start doing Botox early? And I said, I've already had my plastic surgery things that I didn't really like anyway. I think I've done it enough to know I don't really want to do it again.
Oh, you've had some work done.
Yeah, and I had it back in 2010. This is right before when I got back from Hong Kong, and I was in my deepest, darkest depression. You see the whole double eyelid surgery stuff. You see the rhinoplasty. So, actually, me and my
You got
ex-
hair transplant into your face. all over
exactly.
here.
Exactly. I got more facial hair when I came back. No, that's not true. So I went in and I was like, okay, I got to look more like the Korean stars back then. It's like, well, I don't know what happened, but the person who was doing the rhinoplasty thing was a new person. It was a very new person, and the doctor was like, "It's my apprentice. I'll be there," and he actually ended up making more of a bump on my nose.
Yeah.
But if you look at my old photos, it was actually smaller and straighter. And for some reason after that, it became more crooked.
Well, also,
You can't
it's like when you
tell.
get work done, then you're really hyper focused on.
This was during my modeling days. Yeah. So it's like, I realized I'm like, I've done it. I don't want to do it again. I think it can also go bad where you're like, you don't recognize yourself anymore. Because actually, the man in the mirror I saw for about 6 years was very difficult to look at. Because I'm like, wow, I was actually really handsome before this too. Like, and then I was taught to believe I wasn't by entering the modeling industry, acting in Asia, everything.
Dysmorphia, they call it.
Yeah. So I think for me, I can see the downward spiral of that. And but yours is a little bit different because like you lost weight. I know a lot of people have that mental thing. But I think if it's for if you're just trying to save aging, like I don't know.
I'm torn though. Part of me is also like, I am also 50. I'll be 53 this year. It's like it's totally normal for my age. So I'm torn.
Yeah.
It's like for me, actually, it's almost if I'm going to be honest about how I feel about it right now, it's almost a coin flip situation where it's like, maybe I'll get it done, maybe I won't.
Can you get a sponsorship on that? Like
probably.
Like I encourage that.
What will probably happen, it'll be like some kind of like, oh, do you want to get this done because I'm in there getting something done? And he's like, sure, why not?
Yeah, Kimmy's all excited. She's like, I'm going to do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like I said, I don't like the look. As it ages and gets to a certain point.
But there isn't a look, right?
There
it
is
has
a
to do
look.
with it has to do with the.
Oh no, there's a look when you do too much.
I think
You know
it's
what I'm
more,
talking about.
I think it's more so when people are trying to achieve a certain look, then that ends
Right.
up happening.
Right.
And they don't have like,
Well, like I said,
the
right.
right
Yeah,
doctor
that's
that
right.
is encouraging them to not.
Yeah.
That's exactly
You know-
what I mean by too much. Like,
Yeah.
where's the doctor that says,
Because
"Hey,
you
you're
can go
starting
one
to look."
time and end up looking like that.
Right.
That's what I mean. But where's the doctor that says that's
It says no.
ridiculous?
Right. I know that there are doctors that will say no, but there are doctors that will say yes, just like anything else. It's like
Because
any
a
other
business.
relationship.
It's a business.
Well, it's relationship. Even if it's a business or not a business, any relationship, if there's something that you want or there's something that someone wants to do, like a lot of people will say no. No might actually be the wise sort of answer,
Yeah.
but there's also people out there that will say yes, and that's what makes, life more difficult, challenging, and also in some ways more interesting.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
for you, to me, I mean, I'm fine with that. Like, I think it makes sense if you want it. If you don't get it,
Have you ever
then it's-
noticed?
I mean, didn't look at you that hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think as guys I look at other guys as much, if that makes sense.
I guess so.
I'm like looking at myself too much to notice.
Sure. Do you have a lot of mirrors? Is that why you haven't
only have one
invited us
mirror.
up to your place
I
yet?
only
Because
have
there's
one
so many
mirror.
mirrors all over the
No,
place.
it's because it's a one bedroom. That's
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's small. It's like 725 square feet.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still a nice LA apartment.
We know what to get Kevin now. Just a bunch of mirrors.
Bunch of
Oh, I
mirrors.
thought you were gonna say Botox. I was like, also needles scare me.
Oh,
Petrified of needles.
yeah.
I'm not a big fan of them.
Oh, we do a lot of needles around the house.
Yeah. Oh, for what?
For
My peptide.
yeah.
Peptides. Okay. But even that scares me, so I don't want to do it. Like, I'm literally, for some reason, just like a needle comes near me and I freeze up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is another good chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for the coffee.
Definitely. You're welcome.
Yeah. So
Thanks for
come
inviting
check
me.
out Be Bright Coffee here on Melrose in Los Angeles. And again, I think they have a new location in Koreatown, right? Coming. How long is it going to be before it opens? I think a couple months. Yeah. So
You should come to the grand opening.
Yeah, maybe by late summer. But thank you all for letting us be here today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and take over this little.
Yeah.
area.
They live the reputation of their name.
Be Bright.
Be bright.
Yeah. It's always super sweet here. Come check it out. The coffee's always fantastic. Yeah, Frank said he wanted to be here today to say hi, but he's roasting the coffee today, so he couldn't be there.
It's all good. It's all good. Thank you, Frank.
Yeah. As always, we're open to hearing your questions, your comments. dadandaddyshow@gmail.com, or find us on Instagram. And on behalf of my beloved super producer, Kimmy Chan, I'm Nick Cho, your Korean dad.
And I'm Kevin Kreider,
Great.
your daddy.
We'll see you next time. Cheers.